I'm calling the budget meeting to order. Diana, would you do the roll call?
Marcia White,
Here.
Nicole Harris,
Here.
Andrew Esri,
Here.
Andy Luther,
Here.
Stephen Lindsay,
Here.
Ann Houston,
Here.
Kelly Ropers.
Here. Great. I'm turning the meeting over to Frank Adams as he's.
Thank you very much. So this is the public hearing for the FY24 final budget. So what does the school board need to do in order to adopt the budget? Illinois requires that certain procedures that a school board must follow to adopt the budget, and these actions include first publishing it in a newspaper and circulation in the district area. We did do that. It also has to say when and where the public hearing will be, and this is the public hearing right now, and that was published. And it must be on display for 30 days to the public. So we did put it on display on the website, and we also had a hard copy for anybody that wanted to come in and take a look at it. Then the budget's voted on and is adopted by the school board at a public meeting. That would be the meeting after this public hearing. And then the school district, the budget needs to be adopted by September 30th and submitted to ISB and the Lake County clerk. And that will be done if it's approved tonight. Do that tomorrow. Here's the timeline for the budget process. So last month, we accepted the FY24 tentative budget to be put on display. So last month, I kind of went through all the details. This is the budget hearing tonight, September 11th, where I'll kind of be going over what some of the revisions were. Since we went through it in detail last month, we'll kind of talk about what the changes from the tentative to the final budget are. And then by September 30th, we'll have it filed with the Cook County Clerk and the Illinois State Board of Education. So since the tentative budget, there have been some changes because more current information is now available. So first, is going to talk about the revenues. I think, as you all know, we had a property tax appeal settlement where we are going to have to return $75,000 worth of taxes from 2020 and 22, I think they were. And those will be what the Cook County Treasurer will just, in this year's taxes, subtract that $75,000. So we'll receive $75,000 less. So that's $75,000 in revenue that we will not be receiving. I had to adjust the building income rental, building rental income, because we had originally planned to have the early childhood center rented by October, but now with the construction delays, it's going to be November, so that's about $15,000 in revenue that we will not be collecting. And then the corporate personal property replacement taxes, we did get a final number, final estimate number from the Illinois Department of Revenue, so that was updated. It was actually a little bit more than what I had anticipated. $16,000 more. So then on the expenditure side, salaries and benefits, I updated since the last meeting up until last week, any new hires, any changes in positions, all those changes have been added to the final budget, so those are more accurate numbers. And then the capital projects, we talked about different things that are needed, and probably talk about more tonight, but some projects such as the early childhood center is going to have some increased expenses because of just material costs and things that we've talked about. Those have been added to the budget, as well as the administrative district admin offices expansion. Originally we talked about doing that with the early childhood project, but it turned out to be a little more than we expected, so we're going to talk about going out to bid for that, but that has been added to the budget as well. And then the teacher vacancy grant has been finalized. It's a new grant that we received. We had the revenues in it, but we didn't know what the expenses were yet, so we estimated for the tentative budget. Now we got the specific numbers, so those were added as well. So the final budget reflects revenues of $42.7 million, expenditures of $42.46 million, and that's a surplus of $240,000. So you realize the tentative budget was $430,000, but now with the changes, it's gone down to $240,000 because we have realized more expenses and less revenues. So this slide just shows our projected fund balances by fund. So you have each fund, what their fund balances are, and then you have the total funds. So with this budget, you notice that we do not dip into our fund balances. And we're anticipating increasing the total fund balance by the $241,700. We're going to closely monitor all the individual funds moving forward, because that is the reason that we had the tax appeals settlement. So we will be monitoring those closely, and I did do some adjustments to this budget with some of our evidence-based funding to make sure that our fund balances remain not more than 2 times what our an average of 3 years annual expenses are. It's a lot to say. But we can't have more than 2 times our annual expenditures in our fund balance for each individual fund. So we'll be monitoring that moving forward. So this is a balanced budget. The district is financially stable. One thing to remember is that after this year, FY24, the ESSER funds can drop off. We won't be receiving those anymore. So we're going to need to reevaluate programs and positions which we don't have positions in the ESSER grant, but we do have like stipends for different programs and things. So we're going to have to evaluate what we can sustain through local funds, because those grants will be going away in FY24. So there were budget refinements we discussed earlier, and next slide. So the next steps are that we have to approve the budget, and we have to submit the final approved budget to ISB, and also file it with the Lake County Clerk. That's it. Anybody have any questions?
I wasn't here last month. Can you talk a little bit about the settlement for the taxes?
Yeah, we in I think 2020 and 22, we had our fund balances in individual funds. I think it was capital funds, and MRF, but they were more than 2 times what our expenditures are per year. So for our expenditures for a year are $100,000, and we have $200,000 in our fund balance. That's too much. People don't want to see that much money. It's like we're not a bank. We can't be just storing money. So other ones were way below 2.0. So it's kind of, you got to kind of balance out what your fund balances are in each of the individual funds, so that, you know, our goal, and I think it was something we want to talk about in the finance committee also, is having kind of a board guideline of what we want our fund balances to be at, so that I think we can all just kind of follow that moving forward and try to keep each one of our funds at that board recommendation level. So we did go over the two times. So we had taxed some community, well, it's actually they're corporate entities that filed for these tax appeals. It was like, I don't remember, 32 districts and different other corporate or other governmental like libraries and villages that were all had the tax appeal as well. But we can't do that. We gotta make sure that we don't go over that two times.
This is the one that Don and I brought to you last year to let you guys know, in case you didn't know that this week was being sued.
And then they settled it from, I think it was like $175,000 down to $75,000. Any other questions? Other questions?
Do we have any questions and comments from visitors? All right, thank you.
Sure, thank you guys.
Thank you. Do we have a motion to close this hearing?
So moved. Second that.
Roll call?
Andrew Esri,
Aye.
Stephen Lindsay,
Aye.
Kelly Rother,
Aye.
Marcia White,
Aye.
Ann Houston, Nicole Harris, Andy Luther.
Yep.
The hearing meeting is closed. If you don't want to stay for the rest of it, now's the time to leave before we start the next meeting.
All right.
I'm calling the regular school board meeting to order. Diana, it's the roll call.
Marcia White,
Here.
Nicole Harris,
Here.
Andrew Esri,
Here.
Andy Luther,
Here.
Stephen Lindsay,
Still here.
Ann Houston,
Here.
Kelly Rother.
Here.
All right, let's stand for the pledge of allegiance. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
You may be seated. I'm turning the meeting over to Dr. Wilcox.
And I'm gonna turn it over to Dr. Galt and Dr. Schimpf. I'm gonna get it right to talk about the strategic planning process.
Well, thanks for having us back, and thank you for the opportunity to work with your district this year. Dr. Galt and I are very excited about getting to know your community a lot better, and certainly working with all of you as board members. Should be done in about 60 or 90 minutes, so I'm kidding.
He's kidding.
I'm kidding.
Mr. Luther was teasing us earlier, so.
I want to let the board know we've been in contact with Dr. Wilcox. She's been wonderful in communication and up to this point, and planning for really the next 6 to 8 months that we're going to be working with your district. On the first page of what I share with you is just a tentative. You see a skeleton on the left there. We see the board meetings will be coming back to you if necessary, but typically on the updates, we'll be providing updates along the way. Those are in bold, and then you'll see there's going to be 2 different committees. We'll talk about those in a minute, where a strategic planning committee, a team, and then there's a portion of a learner, a subcommittee of that. So you'll see we've designated October 24th. We felt very strongly that bringing everyone together, once those individuals are identified on that first night, spending some time, we'll show you an agenda of that, and then breaking off into the 2 subcommittees. That might be a structure that we continue throughout the process. We'll certainly work with Dr. Wilcox and the members to see if that's efficient. One, it's valuing people's time. Less nights if someone's, certainly from district people or if board members are involved. So there's only one night when we're together for that period of time. We did talk to Dr. Wilcox about opportunities. Some districts do the day, some do it after school, and we certainly feel a good place where we're at as far as moving forward. So we're going to bring structure to those after the October 24th. We'll do that certainly in the near future, but we just want to make sure you're aware of when that first meeting date is targeted from 5 days. If you turn the page, this is a draft skeleton of the first evening. So we would do some pre-work, and Dr. Galt will talk about that in a second to get information from the members. But at 5 o'clock, we'll do an introduction. We'll talk through what the strategic plan is, what the team structure is like, why we're even here. So we'll lay the foundation for everybody. If there's 50 people, it'll be everyone together. And then we're going to go over the overview of the plan, as well as the portrait of learning, what those are, why we're doing it. So we'll do that all together, have a little bit of introductions, get to know each other a little bit. And then you'll see in the bold there at 5:45 to 7:15, we're going to break off into 2 subgroups and subcommittees. On the left-hand side there, then you'll see Strategic Planning Committee. We're going to do a little bit of a celebratory activity and talk about where you've been as a district. You've gone through a strategic plan recently, so we're going to revisit that a little bit, but really talk about where the current realities are, what we're really proud of, what we've done well, what things are with programming, with initiatives. So really who we are as a district, what we stand for, what our current brand is, and get just a feeling of that. Then we're going to talk about mission and vision and values, and what those are and why they're important, and then move into some table discussions around who we are as a district. Why do we do what we do, for who do we do it for, and things like that. Really laying a foundation of what a strategic plan is. What do we stand for? Where do we want to go from a visioning standpoint, that desired state 3-5 years from now? And then what our values are. What do we, at the core, no matter what do we do as a district? We have integrity, we respect each other. Whatever those things come out to be, everything is gonna be rooted in a set of core values. And then the Portrait of the Learning Committee.
So we will have both meetings will be going on concurrently. So when we split off the Portrait of a Learner or Graduate, whatever the team decides that they would like to call themselves, we'll have some members from the high school community. It'll be important to have some representatives from there that can help the committee to better understand what do they expect of our students when they arrive at high school on that first day. What kind of skills do they need to already possess? What does that look like? So they'll have an opportunity to share that with the team so that the team can take in that information. Additionally, it'll be really important, and we're working with Dr. Wilcox so that she can make sure these individuals are present and engaged that evening. But we'd also like to have some post-secondary organizations there as well, so that again, we're thinking about what might be those career paths for our students as they persist beyond this district and they go into high school and then beyond that. And so we'll have an opportunity to collect that information as a committee and understand what that is. And then we're gonna come back together. And the next activity we're gonna do really allows the committee members to understand and participate in an authentic activity that helps them to look at, all right, if you're a realtor in the district, how are you gonna convince? What are you gonna say to that realtor that's gonna convince a family of 4 to move here? What kinds of things might we say about our district? And so we might talk about some of those things, but when in reality, they actually have to really think about, if I were a realtor, how would I sell my community? So they'll walk through that process, both teams together, and we feel that that's important for both teams to be on the same page as it relates to that. And then we'll have a wrap up, we'll have some next steps. Prior to everyone coming to the committee meetings, it will be important that they do provide us with some perception data. So we have listed 4 questions that we would initially like to ask each committee member to provide to us prior to them coming. And then Dr. Wilcox will have to decide if she wants more data collected prior to everyone coming, meaning will involve other stakeholders within the community as far as the survey is concerned, or will it just be those committees as well as board members? We'll want to elicit what you have to say as well. And so we're looking for, what are the areas of strength? What would you tell us? What are the areas or opportunities for growth that you know of right now as you're sitting here? And then additionally, thinking about what might be those things that we're worried about. For example, I'm the superintendent in Lake County, and Dr. Wilcox and I have talked, and we've talked with many superintendents across the county. We are concerned, and the community might tell us the same thing, the staff might tell us the same thing, administrators might tell us the same thing, about being able to attract and retain high quality staff members. It's hard right now. And so that might be something that they come back with. They might come back with some other things too that would be important for the committee to address and hear as we start our work together. And so we'll have an opportunity to look at that. We'll have an opportunity to share that information with both committees.
And I would say, as a board, if you have other thoughts related to those questions, they're very broad, but certainly let Dr. Wilcox know, give feedback if that's something, and or if you have your strong opinion one way or the other about the extension of a stakeholder survey that you would like to see disseminated at some point along the process.
There'll be other opportunities for us to collect survey data, but this is our initial first step.
The last 2 pages, the next page in line is what we are recommending from a strategic planning team members. A lot of people there, as you can see, and the other next page is going to be even more probably. But everything from the district office personnel, we've listed a couple board members, principals, assistant principals, teachers, non-certified, union leadership, village mayors. So you can see the representative students and parents. So for the strategic planning team membership, we want to get a cross sampling, both from a student, from a middle school perspective, as well as possibly some high school kids that we can have part of this group. So we'll work with Dr. Wilcox. We've provided some draft letters to her already for invitations and from a follow-up as once these people accept their role and responsibilities or their acceptance of this fun group that was going to be engaging and a ball of laughs. And then on the second page you'll see is the last page there is the portrait of a learner list. And again, a little bit less on this one, where We don't have all your necessarily, all the city officials involved in this one. There might be some opportunities for, when you think about, as Dr. Galt said, from the workforce readiness skills and from an industry standard. We can talk about that with Dr. Wilcox. Do we want some representation on there? Or at some point, maybe they come in throughout the process. So the heavy lifting is going to be now trying to gather and get people involved. As the board, you're aware that, you know, we have to be mindful too. If, you know, that October 24th, if we're bringing over 3 board members together at only one time, you know, the challenge is we have to post that. It's not a challenge, not a big deal, but just logistic wise, and that'll be something we'll have to keep in mind moving forward from a board standpoint, so we don't violate any things that we shouldn't be violating. So any questions about any of it?
Probably more for Dr. Wilcox than you. Where are we meeting?
We most likely will be meeting at the middle school, like that'll be the biggest area for us to be able to do that.
And then how are we identifying, reaching out to parents and students and whatnot to join us?
So they give me some draft letters to utilize, and I'm gonna be sending out a survey to community members, parents, as well as staff. Union leadership's here today.
Yeah.
Hopefully gonna have union leadership on that as
Sure.
well. And I'll talk to Ms. Meek about having some of those students attend like they did the first time we did.
So you just reached out to the community as a whole, or I mean the school community as a whole?
The school community, but I also have already spoken with the high school, so there's specific high school people that I want involved with that, much to their point.
Sure.
And I will reach out to the mayor's office again. I will reach out to the organizations they have on their list.
It'll be voluntary, is that what you're saying, for the members of the community?
Yep.
Thank you.
And we're limiting 3 board members, or 2 board members to each committee?
Yes.
That would be our recommendation. Of course, Dr. Wilcox and you as a board could make a different recommendation, but that would be our recommendation. It's what we've seen, that's typical practice. Mostly because we will be coming back and providing regular updates, and my hope is Dr. Wilcox will also, when we're not here, provide an update at each one of the board meetings as well.
Yep. Any other questions? Thank you so much.
Thanks for
Thank
calling.
you.
We appreciate your time. Good to see everybody.
Forward to it.
Me too.
Thanks, Russ, too.
Appreciate working with us.
You bet. Thanks.
Thank you.
Have a good evening.
Thank you. Some other things, as far as my superintendent report goes, so annual health, life, and safety inspections are gonna be starting to happen. The ROE sent out dates to each of the schools, so they'll be around to do their inspections. And I'm sure that Jose will include that in his board update as they happen. District office expansion project, so originally, we had planned to just add the district office expansion project into the preschool project. Unfortunately, we do know it's gonna cost more than 10% of that project, so we met with LRP last week, kind of explained the situation. We have definitely outgrown our district office, and the plan all along was to expand into room 114, which is next to the district office. Some work already started on that, and then we found out it was going to be more than 10% of the cost of the preschool project. So therefore, we are looking to the board tonight to at least allow us and approve us going out to bid for the project, so that we can finish the work on the district office to add offices as well as a conference room. Because our conference room was taken over by one of our directors. So it is a definite needed project, and today we'll be just looking for your approval to go out to bid for the rest of the project. Our hope is that going out to bid will actually make the project cost less than what we've been told, which would be great. And again, Frank already included this in his budgetary allotment as far as the tentative budget moving forward. Does anybody have any questions about the expansion project, or why we're gonna have to go out to bid to get it finished? All right. Just informatory here, we do want to schedule a collaborative joint board meeting between Zion Benton Township High School, Zion Elementary District 6, Winthrop Harbor 1, and us on October 12th at 6 p.m. at Zion Benton Township High School. We're going to continue the work we started last year, and the goal will be to have one now and have one probably in February as well, or in March. Any questions about that? I just wanted to give you guys an update on the 100-day plan that I presented to you when we were doing the superintendent search. And I broke that plan down into 4 specific areas: learn activities, assess activities, communicate activities, and act activities. So just to give you a little bit of an update, as I held the position as interim for a year, some of the things were done, some of the things were not. So I just want to give you an update. So one of the things that I've tried to do is work with our union leadership to just hear staff concerns, questions, things like that. And I'm going to continue that work. We have our first union leadership meeting tomorrow, actually. One of the things that I do need to focus on now is doing listening sessions with parents in the community. We have a parent liaison position that we finally were able to hire for. And once that person starts, they're going to be helping me do some tours of local businesses so that we can establish partnerships that can provide resources and support to the district and the community as a whole. I'm working on a calendar of town halls and coffees with superintendent meetings so that we can share out information with the community more often than just at board meetings. And then once that's complete, I'll be inviting all the board members to it if you are interested in coming. Assess activities. I've worked closely with Ms. Griffiths as I've, transitioned her into a position that I used to do in district. We definitely look at student data. As part of that, I presented a staffing plan to the board, which asked for an increase in positions because of our current situation with students, that less than 10% of our students are grade level proficient in math, and less than 14% of our students are grade level proficient in reading. One of the things we did add was to have 10 interventionist positions at all of our schools, so 2 in each building, a reading and a math interventionist. Unfortunately, at the middle school right now, we still have not been able to hire a math interventionist. It's something we still have advertised. We actually have it advertised as a math teacher because one of our math teachers would like to go into that position. So it's something that we're working on, but our focus is trying to raise up the scores of our students that are not considered grade level proficient. Grade level proficient would mean they can do all of the things in the Common Core standards at grade level, which means they can read at grade level, they can do the standards at grade level for math. Right now, many of our students are lacking. Communicate activities. We plan and implemented back to school bash for the community, inviting PTOs and local businesses to participate. We'll continue to plan and develop more activities like this to bring the community in. Obviously, we have the Multicultural Festival that will happen in March. We want to highlight resources and partnerships with local organizations. I'm currently working with the leadership team to have a brand ambassador at each school that will help with telling our Beach Park story on social media. So that's something we're working on, and I'm working on it at the district level as well. And last, ACT activities. I'm working on a plan for bringing high schoolers to our school to complete hours as TAs to begin to build a grow your own program. I did meet with the chief academic officer at Zion Benton Township High School. They actually have a class in second semester that they're starting, which is called an Introduction to Teaching. So students from those classes will be coming to our elementary schools to do hours of participation. Potentially we'll be able to have them write a lesson plan and teach a lesson plan to kids, do small group work, etc. So that's something that we're working on with the high school as well, because we both high school and our district feel very strongly that a Grow Your Own program is extremely important to our community. We have a lot of people that have grown up in the community, student taught in the community, and are now teachers in the community. Brianne Berry is a perfect example. She's now principal at Howell Elementary School. She grew up here. She did her student teaching here. She taught here. and then she worked at the district office, and now she's a principal in the district. Uh-oh.
Sorry,
My
sorry.
time is up.
Sorry.
No worries.
We agree.
Not your time, our time is up. Our time is up. Let me clarify.
Woo, okay.
All our time.
It is rough ground
Don't be
today.
mean to me, like.
Oh, man. All schools have developed a learning is not optional brand for their school. Those are posted in the schools everywhere. We'll continue to work on this goal in all buildings throughout the year and into the future as we work to build on our themes for this year and last year, World Changers and Serving Up Success. Preschool will be done and in use hopefully by mid-November, fingers crossed. And then we'll be developing a committee to begin planning for our own program in 2 years for preschool. And then when the parent liaison begins, we'll start working on providing parent academies if parents are interested in learning more about ways that they can help their students academically. I haven't been able to focus enough on cultural enrichment opportunities for the community, but it's something that's on my radar and something that I'm hoping in collaboration with a parent liaison position, we'll be able to do more with that. Hopefully more will be coming in the future, and then obviously we have strategic planning. So we're gonna highlight activities that we can do as well. Overall, I think I've started and finished, not everything, but almost all things that were highlighted in my 100-day plan that I gave to the board. There's still a lot of work to do. I think you all know that. And I look forward to the challenge and opportunity to lead the district into the future. Any questions about my 100-day plan of activities?
I have a comment,
Hit
more
me.
than a question.
Oh, boy.
And it was one thing, goes back to interviewing for your position, and you mentioned back then, we talk a lot up here about the shortage of teachers. I am so happy to see these steps going towards our Grow Your Own program. I know a lot of kids that we've actually hired in district that I used to coach softball of that are now teachers. So it's fantastic that we're trying to resolve our own teacher shortage in district. Applause, accolades to you for continuing to take those steps forward on that. Thank you.
Trying. Dr. Galt hit the nail on the head. We as a county are very concerned about the teacher shortage, TA shortage, all of it, and looking at different ways that we can help support that in the coming time. Obviously, the state saw a problem and gave us a grant this year, but unfortunately it is just for teaching staff, and we've had discussions with the ISB about that very specific thing, that it's very hard to be given a grant for a certain amount of money that can only be for teachers and no other staff in the district. So it's something we legislatively have brought from the Lake County Superintendents Association, our concern with focusing on one sole group when there's so many groups that help support the learning of kids in the school. 2 last things. One, the III conference is coming up. Just a reminder, it's November 17th through the 19th. Diana has, I think, everyone registered. Kelly, I know that you can.
I cannot go.
Yes. Just letting you know. And last but not least, something that I didn't put on my superintendent report, but I just want to bring up, in meeting with Jose Cannon and his team, we feel we should move our board meetings to the middle school from here on out so that we can do them in the cafeteria, so that we have the stage, we have all the brand new sound system, and the ability, a little bit more room, some bigger chairs for everybody in the cafeteria moving forward, and I want to make sure that is okay with everyone.
I'd be concerned about acoustics. We've had meetings there before and it's been very hard to hear. I know the PA system's been improved and that can be amplified now, but just in general, it's a dead space to hear.
For like out in the cafeteria, like if we were on the stage and everybody can see presentations behind us.
Again,
asking.
It's just been
Obviously,
very
I haven't
hard
been
to
in
hear in that room for me at least.
It's just like a big gym, it's like the big gymnasium. We've always had trouble in the bigger rooms, but maybe with the new sound system, it's much improved.
Cannon, would you like to comment on the sound system itself? I feel like for Institute Day, it was a lot better than it has been in the past.
It was. The only thing we would have to see is with that streaming, how is that going to pick up? I have no concerns about us in the audience with the sound system at all. But yeah, it's that. What about the viewers? That we would just have to try. You know, I can't tell that without knowing it first. So.
What are you proposing, what timeframe? Or do you have to test first, moving board meetings?
I would like to start in October. Does anyone foresee a problem with that, starting October 16th at our next board meeting? And if it's terrible, we can always revert back. That's an option.
Semicircle, not straight line. It's hard to have communication in a straight line.
Correct, I agree. I actually was gonna put you guys at student desks today because I hate these tables, I hate those tables, but I was like, the student desks are a lot smaller, trapezoid. That is all I have for my superintendent report today. I know, that was long-winded, sorry about that.
Thank you, Dr. Wilcox. Do I have a motion to approve the agenda? Second. Roll call?
Stephen Lindsay.
Aye.
Andy Luther.
Aye.
Kelly Ropers. Aye. Nicole Harris.
Aye.
Marcia White.
Aye.
Ann Houston.
Aye.
Andrew Essering.
Aye. Anyway, approved. Do we have any correspondence? All right. Any questions on old business? Enrollment or discipline? All right. Long-range planning.
Thank you. We did meet this past week. A few items that we've actually already been mentioned tonight, but certainly want to repeat them and let you know. Preschool should be starting next week, the 18th, and installation, that is, should take a couple days to get them installed. So hopefully things are still on schedule, Jose, yes?
Mhm.
For next week's installation of the preschool buildings. And as mentioned, because of the delays that we've had, there's been some additional cost accrued from material increases, and it's about $190,000+ that we're going to have to pay for that. The house, school, and mine just went blank. Oak Crest playgrounds are just about completed and should be open for students soon. They were in their final stages recently. One of the things that Long Range has been working on is the Kenneth Murphy facility water piping, old galvanized piping that are getting corroded and filled up with calcium buildup or whatever you get built up with, and the need to start replacing water pipes. We've had some leaks over the years, we've patched those leaks, but feels to me that we need to undertake the project of just repiping this facility. One of the things that's on our board agenda tonight is to approve the going out or allowing STR to prepare the construction plans for the project, and then that will allow us to go out for bid. So it's not a request to do the project, it's just a request to allow STR to prepare the plans for that, and we do recommend that we approve that tonight. As we've talked in the past, Oak Crest facility is lacking on parking spaces, and we looked at a couple options this last week. We feel that renovation of the main parking lot in the southeast corner is the long-term proper method of doing that, and estimation is it would add about 28 spaces. We're still working on those types of plans, but from a Band-Aid standpoint, since we do need parking now, is to add some additional parking on the west side of the bus garage, or bus parking with some gravel. So opening up the fence, and there's a ball diamond that used to be there, turning that area into gravel parking for the bus drivers. So Jose is working on trying to get a price to do that, but we are also suggesting that from a long-term standpoint, nothing to do tonight, but just to make you aware of, that the current parking in the southeast corner is the area that we'd like to renovate in due time. we've talked about the district office and the need to do additional rooms there. And as been explained, the original thought of using boiler didn't quite pan out. And so looking to, since we already have the plans done, looking to go out for bid and try to get some pricings for that. And then just an FYI, we've been talking about how school traffic problems. We had some discussion as a committee, and there's been some additional discussion with staff and with the police officer regarding that, and so are still looking at ways that to try to alleviate some of the backup of parents dropping off and picking up their kids. So that's been an ongoing conversation. And that's what I want to bring to you tonight. If there are any questions. Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Moving on to Finance Committee.
Yes, I follow Mr. Luther on this. We met at 5:30 tonight, and a lot of what you talked about, we talked about just briefly. We did talk about the district office expansion project, again, having to separate that out. The preschool additional cost due to materials. We also spoke about the replacement of the water piping pail. The administrative contract, went over that. I touched on the budget just a little bit, but I really left it for this meeting, for the hearing. Then we did decide, talking about moving the finance meeting to a separate night, just so we have enough time to really go over the details of what needs to be talked about. So what we have is Thursday, November 9th at the middle school at 5:30. We'll still meet at 5:30 before our regular board meeting to go over the monthly bills and such. But we felt like that would be more beneficial to the whole thing. So that is pretty much wraps it up. Does anyone have any questions?
One question, what day, would you say Thursdays?
Thursday, November 9th at 5:30 at the middle
Will
school.
be standing Thursdays or?
I think it's one of those, we're talking about Thursdays, but that was the one that we set for the moment.
We may change in the future. You weren't at the meeting, so we'll just basically pick up this stuff. Okay, thank you. And I think you have the next one.
I do have the next one. We did have a governing board for CEDAL meet Wednesday, August 23rd at 7. It was a public hearing for budget, again at 6:30, and the presentation of that FY24 final budget was presented that night, and it was passed. The next board meeting will be December 6th at 7 o'clock for the governing board out at CEDAL and Gages Lake Road.
Any questions? Not. Do we have any questions on building reports? Any comments or anything on the department reports? Right. Do you have any questions or comments?
I have a question.
Sure.
Were we gonna go to the Illinois School Board Association October meeting in North Chicago? Was there any discussion to do that?
I didn't even know about it.
You get an email this October, okay.
What day is it?
October 12th, I believe it is, I think it's a Thursday, North Chicago.
Well, that's the night we scheduled the joint board meeting. Is that,
Oh,
is
well,
it the
maybe-
same date?
I don't know. Let's talk afterwards.
Okay.
All right. Do you have a motion to approve the consent agenda?
So,
I'll second.
Roll call?
Andrea Esri,
Aye.
Stephen Lindsay,
Aye.
Ann Houston,
Aye.
Marcia White,
Aye.
Nicole Harris,
Aye.
Kelly Ropers,
Aye.
Andy Luther.
On to our individual action items. Do I have a motion to approve the 2023-24 budget? So moved.
Second.
Roll call.
Nicole Harris,
Aye.
Kelly Ropers,
Aye.
Andrew Esri,
Aye.
Stephen Lindsay,
Aye.
Marcia White,
Aye.
Andy Luther.
Aye.
Ann Houston.
Aye.
It is passed. Do I have a motion for the approval to begin the bidding process for the replacement of domestic water piping here at KM?
So moved.
Second.
Roll call.
Andy Luther.
Aye.
Ann Houston,
Aye.
Stephen Lindsay,
Aye.
Andrew Esri,
Aye.
Marcia White,
Aye.
Nicole Harris, Kelly Ropers.
Aye. That passed. Do I have a motion for approval to start the bidding process for the district office expansion?
So moved.
Second.
Roll call.
Ann Houston,
Aye.
Stephen Lindsay,
Aye.
Marcia White,
Aye.
Kelly Ropers,
Aye.
Andrea Esri,
Aye.
Nicole Harris,
Aye.
Andy Luther.
Okay, it passed. Do I have a motion for the approval of the administrative contract?
So moved.
Second.
Roll call.
Kelly Ropers,
Aye.
Andy Luther,
Aye.
Nicole Harris,
Aye.
Ann Houston,
Aye.
Andrea Esri,
Aye.
Marcia White,
Aye.
Stephen Lindsay.
Aye.
Here's the hard one though. Do I have a motion to adjourn the meeting?
So moved.
Second. Roll call.
Andrea Esri,
Aye.
Stephen Lindsay,
Aye.
Kelly Ropers,
Aye.
Marcia White,
Aye.
Ann Houston,
Aye.
Nicole Harris,
Aye.
Andy Luther.
Aye.
Right, we have adjourned. Thank you.